Listen. Around here, when you're around me, we don't talk like that. We get it. We have no choice. This is our obligation. This is our calling. This is our purpose.
Yeah.
We have to by all means. However, we can detach our emotions from the end result.
Right.
If it doesn't happen, cool. We're not going to be depressed and we're not going to die from it.
Yeah.
But we followed our calling.
No, and I think we need to make as a society losing a bigger part of the equation with entrepreneurship. Like we always like celebrate our wins and talk about how great this is and like, oh, I got to be on a plane or I got to do this on a whatever. Doesn't matter. Like we need to start talking about the actual like the losing, like the me beating my head against a wall.
Welcome to the Define podcast. Every week we invite interesting guests and we talk about defining moments and what defines them as an individual. Today we have a special guest.
What's up, Internet?
This is my friend Cory. Cory reached out to me a month ago when I first started my business, and he gave me an opportunity. And you may not know this, but that opportunity led to a couple of $1,000s in my pocket.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So the opportunity was he's an entrepreneur. He's a photographer, videographer. He's a storyteller. He's a jack of all trades, and he does many things, and we'll talk about it here on the podcast. Yeah, man. When you was recording, you would go to small businesses and kind of do small storytellings on businesses that would potentially show other people and showcase their talents and what they offer, the services and products. When you came to me, I was super excited because I've been in business for quite some time, but I felt like I was being acknowledged for the first time. And when you came and we did that, you posted the videos and people started following me. And people started booking me in the result of that video. And I have maintenance clients that I get paid every single month just because of that video.
That's awesome.
So I never got to say thank you. I want to say thank you because of that. But the reason I mention that is because it's amazing what you're doing here in Ocala, Florida. We need more people like that can see open space and a market that hasn't been touched and be able to create relevancy to small businesses. Because look at this day and age, we in the middle of the pandemic, right? Businesses are not thriving, especially in the smaller city like Ocala, right? Yeah. And that doesn't go to say that there's not businesses that are thriving and doing well, but the smaller business got this huge impact during the crisis of the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to know what made you get into that.
So that all kind of stems from, the easiest way, I guess, to say it, all kind of stems from I wanted to get into video work, and my lifelong goal is that I want to direct a Star Wars movie. Like that's what I want to do. So I've reverse engineered everything I want to do in order to get there, how I think I'm going to get there. I could be 100% off base and incorrect, but part of that is I need film equipment. So I got into the idea of, I actually, and we'll get into that later, I got all my film equipment I needed, but I didn't know how to test it, and I didn't know what to test it on. So I'm like, there's a bunch of small businesses around here that have zero content, and like there's all these people who can't afford these large production companies or even medium-sized production companies. Like we have a few here in Ocala that do video work, and they charge like,
hefty dollar,
couple thousand, for a video, and it could work or it could be crap. You have no idea. So I was like, that'd be a great place for me to, one, learn how to use the audio, the video, all this gear that I've bought, and then two, also fill a void or fill a need for small businesses. And then this is kind of my part of giving back, I get to go around and highlight all these small people or small businesses. And then not only that, I get to promote them, and then I get to talk about the journey of entrepreneurship, because there's a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs who probably shouldn't be. Not that like it's not that it's like an exclusive club or anything like that, but there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, and there's a lot of like loneliness that goes along with it.
Absolutely.
And getting people to talk about that was probably my favorite part of that show. And then like widely like putting that out there.
That is amazing. And it's the truth, man. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
No.
It's not. It does get lonely. It's easier to work for somebody than to start something on your own.
Yeah.
That's why most people don't do it, and people have the fear. But on the flip side, there's people that are really talented and don't have the tools or the knowledge to be able to take their talents and showcase it to the world and be able to monetize that.
Yeah.
by you doing stuff like that, you encourage people and give people that insight that you can start from something so small and create something so massive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what it is. It started with an idea of you trying to produce a Star Wars movie.
Yep.
And where did that stem from?
So a long time ago, in a galaxy far away. When I was, this was back in like 2004. So I had to be like, 10 or 12 or something like that.
Okay.
There's this movie out there, and you may or may not have ever heard of it. It's called Empire of Dreams. So when I was a kid, the thing I always wanted to do up until I saw this movie was like, I want to write. That'd be super cool. I want to be an author. I want to write books. Oh yeah, I used to love it. I hate it now. It's the worst. It turns out I'm not really good at grammar. So that's not in my future there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that was the thing I always wanted to do. And this movie came out, and it was a 3-hour documentary that follows George Lucas from film school till finishing Return of the Jedi. And that was the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life. To this day, I have watched that movie more than I've seen every other movie I've watched combined. I've watched that movie thousands of times.
You just binge watch that? That's your go-to whenever you have free time, like, I'm going to go watch this.
I'm going to get in a car ride and go somewhere. I'm going to put that on and listen to it.
Wow.
So I just got super enthralled with like the whole process of like building a team, putting together props, hiring like it was incredible.
So you love the whole like production of creating something.
Absolutely love it. So that was my dream all the way till I was like 20 and I got out of high school and all this stuff. And then, the real world kicks in and you go, well, I mean, that's great, but I need a job. Then I started working in retail, and then that kind of cascaded. That went from, I'm going to do this for a year to I'm going to do this for 10 years. And I need to, I need to get out of it. So finally, earlier last year, we had the pandemic hit, and then I really got started with, I need to like turn 29. Like, I need to start doing something. Like, this is not where I want my life to go. So I finally decided, all right, I'm going to need to buy stuff so I can start filming movies. I mean, I want to direct a Star Wars movie. I've not even directed a movie. I haven't even been on a movie set. So I need to start changing that.
Right.
Couldn't afford it.
Wait. I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
You have that mindset, though. And this is, on the Define podcast, we like to pick people's brain and talk about that mindset. So you had an idea as a young kid.
Yeah.
You grew older and you realized that you got to do something, right? You can't just ponder on that one idea.
Yeah.
However, the things that you do are a reflection because of that one idea, right?
Correct.
You started a podcast based on talking about Star Wars, and so you never disregarded that idea.
No, it's always been, and even the whole time, like my whole 10-year span that I was in retail, I was constantly writing, and even in high school. So I was a ridiculously bad student in high school. I figured out in my 9th grade year that if you Christmas tree the FCAT, the worst thing that can happen to you is they put you in a remedial class, but you still go to the next grade. So I would Christmas tree the FCAT every year and I was in remedial classes like the whole time. So it was awful. But I would literally write scripts I remember distinctly like in English class, not doing the coursework for the day. And I would be writing a script for like a Star Wars movie.
Wow.
And I just did that forever. And even when I worked in retail, like when I came home, that's what I would do. I would write and I would practice writing and I would watch videos on like, how do you do screenplays? And finally, when the pandemic hit, when it first hit and they shut it down, we're like, oh, only essentials are allowed to go out and work or whatever. My work is sort of essential, but not really. It's like essential in the vaguest of terms, but they, made it so that we were essential. We got this letter that we had to keep in our car in case we got pulled over by the police saying that we were allowed to go to work. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is not, I literally have to have a letter to go to work in a pandemic to a place that I don't. So it just was like a wake up call for me. Like, I need to start doing something. But yeah, so everything was always from that point on was like reverse engineering. How do I get there? So meeting all these people who are entrepreneurs and practicing my film while also getting to promote them. And then selfishly in promoting them, I get to see like, okay, well, I posted this video this way and I got this many views. Well, what if I film it this way? And then like selfishly, I would do different things on every video to see like, okay, this works or this works or this works. And it's just a constant process of like trying to figure it out.
I think I created this podcast selfishly.
Yeah.
Because most of the information I got is with sitting next to people and basically interrogating them, doing what I'm doing now. Because I've done this off camera, off air, off recording. I love how the mind works. And people from all different walks of life have their own perspective, right? And if I can take a little bit from everybody, I can learn something, and I may be able to create something massive. But even in this field that I'm in, you kind of been like mentoring me, right? Because I mean,
your stuff,
I call you for simple things maybe I shouldn't even be calling you about, but you answer and you respond, and you're so interested in that industry that you're willing to help even for free.
Oh yeah, I'll talk for hours.
Yeah,
I'll talk for hours.
You said that before the podcast, like, yo, this is, podcast is my thing. I love to talk, man.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate that. Someone who can put that type of energy. And we love that. We need more people like that, because when I got into my first business, I reached out to a lot of people to try to, get a mentor, to get some type of knowledge on what I should and shouldn't do. Because if I can get a head start, why not? And people shut me down 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because
people are afraid of the competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? People don't want to put, the gems and the I wouldn't say secrets, because nothing is a secret, but the sauce to make it, to prevent the small stuff. Because if I can prevent the small stuff, like I'm going to do that as best as I can. So what's going on with you now? You're doing the podcast. Mm-hmm. You're a photographer.
Yep.
Are you doing that full time?
So no, I'm not. So I am actually, my business is actually really, so we'll jump back just a bit here. So I started the video thing. I started doing that, and I was like, oh, you know what? I could probably get paid for doing this. And then I started trying to promote commercials for people. I got paid a couple times, but other than that, it was a horrendous disaster. Didn't get paid. I don't know. It just didn't work out. I don't know. Yeah. It was, I think it was a lot of my part still learning, like how do you pitch this stuff to entrepreneurs or people who would be interested?
Are you afraid? Are you uncomfortable with marketing yourself?
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I am totally fine with cold calling people, cold DMing people, walking up to someone saying, "Hey, yo, do you want to go for a photo shoot? Like $49."
Yeah.
I'm totally comfortable with all that.
Nice,
I have no issue with like being told no. I'm totally fine with.
That's amazing. Have you always been like that?
For as long as I can remember. I can't say always, but for as long as I can remember, I've always loved no. I love being told no.
Yeah, me too, because it creates like this pride ego thing, and then I go out and do it, and I'm like, screw you.
Exactly. That's like, and that's the best part. Is like, oh, you told me no, and that's been some of my favorite things that has happened. Does that
propel you and motivate you?
Oh yeah, absolutely does. So that's been some of my favorite stuff. Is like offering people a free photo shoot when I was first starting out, them telling me no, me going and doing a bunch of photo shoots for people for free, and then them going, hey, how much for a photo shoot?
You dumbass.
Like, hey, do you still want to do want to do a free photo shoot? No, it'll be $99 now if you want one. So that's my favorite.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same position. I've reached out to some people, some interesting people that I kind of know, I associate with, I see, every now and then, and I'm like, hey, come, you have an interesting story, because we sat down and we spoke, and I invited to the podcast, and they just blew me off. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking just like that. Like, in the future, you're going to see how big we create this platform, and you're going to want to be on. It's going to be too late.
Yeah.
Because my price today is not going to be tomorrow's price.
Oh, yeah. It's the same mindset. It's I can't wait to stick it in your fucking face. That's it. That's what motivates the hell out of me. I absolutely love that.
I don't try to ponder too much on that, but it is a shtick.
Yeah,
it's something that you have on your shoulders, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go.
Chip on your shoulder.
I'm gonna go show you, man.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting mindset to have, right? Where did that stem from? What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing is incredibly boring. So I am from
For real?
Yeah, I'm from Toledo, Ohio, which is an hour south of Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. So for anybody who doesn't know where that is on the map, but it's pretty close there. We moved down to Florida because my sister has a skin condition where if she's out in the cold, like she gets these rashes and hives like all over her skin.
Like eczema type of stuff?
It's almost like reverse eczema. I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's like reverse eczema almost, where like the cold weather was like really affecting her. So we moved down here because my grandparents were down here. So we moved to Florida. We moved to a little town called Weirsdale, Florida. It is real close to the Villages. It is literally the only thing in Weirsdale, Florida. There used to be a Magic video store, was the name of it, and a gas station. And that was what was in Weirville, Florida. And
like
orange
super
packing
suburbs
plant.
area.
No suburb, man. It was nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing that, like, it's one intersection, one stoplight. That is the town.
Wow.
Yeah, we barely have this little
Florida
tiny...
still has places like that?
Oh, yeah. They're not super far away.
Yeah.
But it's a cool place. The probably the part of that grew the most into my, like, upbringing would be we did not have internet. I didn't have internet, like real actual internet, until I was like 18, 19 years old, was when I first got on the internet. Totally disconnected, 100%. We had dial-up.
You give me like the 40-year-old virgin vibes.
Dude, it's kind of that way. It's kind of close. So we had dial-up, but it was like the slowest thing. Like I remember when in high school, MySpace was like all the rage, and like, oh, I got to get a MySpace page. So you'd hook the laptop up to the phone line, and this is in like 2008,
I forgot what was it called. It was
DSL internet. They still have that.
What?
That's still the only way you get internet out there.
Oh my God. I remember that. The AIM, the MySpace.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So, I would get on. I was like, oh, I got to start a MySpace page. Everybody's doing MySpace. I got to get on it. So I would hook it up, would go to MySpace, would go to my page. Loading a page would be like a 30 to 40 minute experience. Like you would start it and like, I'm going to go watch a show.
Service.
And you go watch a show or play a game or whatever, and you come back like, oh, I loaded. Cool. Oh, what was I going to do again? Oh, I was going to type. That's right. I type some stuff. I'm like, okay, hit send. Wait another 30. It was awful. But we finally, we upgraded. They got some faster like DSL internet out there when I went to college, and my parents finally like hooked that up. Like, oh, this is the internet. I have the internet now. This is so cool. First thing I do is like, watch a bunch of like online sitcoms, and like there's a show called Red vs. Blue. Watched a boatload of that because I remember everybody saying how cool it was, and I was always jealous because I couldn't go home and watch it. But yeah, it was a lot of that. So my upbringing, it was incredibly boring, and we had a lot of like video games and movies, and that would be it. And I think that's kind of where my love of movies came from. Okay. My mom has always been this huge like cinema freak. She loves movies. She collects like. We've got to have like 4 or 5 copies of like almost every movie probably produced. There's just so much, but it's because you didn't have internet out there, so that's how you got your entertainment. Was
it's like VCR,
VCR, DVDs. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, those are like dinosaur days now,
dude. I know. Yeah, absolutely.
You see where the world's going? Have you heard about like Facebook and what Facebook is doing
with what
like the VR and changing into Meta? What do you think about that? Because you into games and visuals and stuff like that.
It's a good move. I like the idea of them changing their whole platform to Meta because I mean. Well, one, it is kind of funny because they are the meta. I mean, if you go out there, Facebook life or Instagram life is real life almost. So that's kind of a funny thing for them. But I think it's a smart move where they consolidate everything like under this one ubiquitous brand. I can't think of my words now, but one like consistent brand. I think that's a good idea.
Oh wow!
But the VR, that's super cool.
What is life going to be like in 10 years?
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I think it's going to be great. I think in a lot of this is going to come from like podcasts and stuff that I listen to and like shows and that. And I think voice is going to be really popular. Like I think we're going to rely a lot more on voice.
Yeah.
Like now we're always like on our phone or whatever. I think soon the future will be that we will be constantly like talking, like you'll have like voice in your paint on your walls and that like you'll talk to your paint on your walls, your wallpaper on your walls, and it'll have like Google on there.
Wow.
So I think like that's the big place that businesses have to like pay attention to is my theory on that is, and the one of the popular theories that's out there on it is that if you don't brand yourself, then Google is just going to choose whoever they want. So it's like, oh, well, this person's going to pay me 20%, if you're Google or if you're Alexa or whatever. And like, oh, every business going there.
That's such an interesting concept. Bro.
Yeah. And the other cool theory of it too is like, well, that's why you need to do a lot of branding. You need to like brand yourself out there as like, you're the Deafine guy. So you want to hire the Deafine guy to work on your car because, you've seen his content, you've seen his Instagram, his YouTubes, all that stuff. Right. So when you say, hey, Google, hire me Deafine Mobile Detailing to detail my car instead of just get me a mobile detailer.
When you say stuff like that, in my brain, I'm picturing like holograms. Like,
I mean, yeah, I think we could maybe get there.
You walk into your house and the picture frames pop out and they have a conversation with you. Like everything is a computer type stuff.
Yeah, you could like probably get
futuristic. That's what I was seeing in my mind. Like everything talks, everything that you walk by is interacting with you some type of way or form. It's some type of algorithm that we are aligned with, and we live in this metaphysic world.
Yeah.
That is scary. We'll rely on internet and virtual reality to be our reality.
Yeah, I think you always have human connection. Like, that's the reason why people use Facebook now.
The reason I say that is because I seen a movie a long time ago, and you're a movie guy. It's called The Gates with Bruce Willis.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it, in all honesty.
You better get your movie shit up.
No kidding. There's a lot of movies I don't watch.
But it's basically that. It's you live in a virtual reality. You stay home all day. You plug into the Matrix, and this virtual reality version of you lives a life. It goes to work. It eats. Yeah. It has sex like virtually.
Yeah.
And you have all those emotions and feelings, but it's not real. So, are you okay with that?
And it doesn't matter if I'm okay with it or not. If it's going there, it's going there. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of everybody can do what they want to do. So there's, for every person who would probably do that, there will also be a lot of people who won't do that. And both are fine. Like nowadays, for instance, we know social media is like the thing, like being on. So
yeah, but that goes back to that conversation. It's like the generation before us, some of them are still not savvy in that. But you have to accept it because this is where life has led us to. So imagine like living like the Jetsons or like some futuristic lifestyle where you don't even have to leave your home. Like you can be a homebody, never speak to someone, because you can create this false narrative of who you are into this virtual reality. Like you can be famous on Instagram, but in real life you ain't shit. In other words.
Yeah, absolutely. That very much exists now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And to my point earlier with people being on social, like everybody's on social, yet I'm married to someone who has no social media other than Instagram, and that's only because she likes wildlife photos. So, and there's a lot of people out there like her. I mean, there's a lot of people who are even of the younger generation who don't use social media or aren't fans of social media. Yeah.
I think you have to have balance, moderation. You have to be aligned within yourself.
You just have to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't like to bash anything.
That's what it comes down to.
But I'm not the type of person who goes with the flow. If I have questions, if I feel some type of way of something, I'm definitely gonna ask questions. And if it doesn't feel right, I don't just go with the grain. I think, people that go with the flow, it's like only deaf fish go with the flow.
Yeah, right? No, absolutely. I agree with you.
What else do you have going on besides? So the photography business.
So right now we're about to start next weekend. Actually, and I can't talk a ton about it because I had to sign an NDA. But we're about to be on our first film set, which is going to be phenomenal. Now I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just the PA, which means that I'm the gopher. Go get me coffee. Go hold this light up.
Oh, okay.
Hold the screen. But it'll be the first ever time I've been on an actual movie set, so I'm super pumped.
And I can see by your vibe and energy, you're serious about taking this to the next level.
Yeah.
And in 5 years, 2 to 5 years, you're gonna hit that goal.
No, I'm thinking.
No, you don't think so?
I'm thinking like
maybe
50,
not
60.
in that caliber that you see, but you're gonna hit this high place where you can only envision right now, and we can always result back to what we're doing right now. Yeah. And be like, listen, I knew this guy. He sat down with me and had this conversation. Cool. That he had dreams and
and I might
aspirations.
I might never make it to actually directing a Star Wars movie, but I'm gonna get damn close.
Why do you feel that way? Come on, we got to talk about that because that's a mindset thing. I believe if you want something, I don't know what you believe in, but it's a desire from a higher power that put that in there.
Yeah,
right. It instilled that in you, and it's for a reason. It's a purpose. It's something that you have to. It's a calling, something that you have to follow because one day you're going to get old and you're not going to have the same opportunities that you have now.
Agreed.
So why do you feel otherwise that you might not make it to that calling because you had it for so long?
So I think I will, overall, I think I will do it. Okay. However, I'm also okay in a future where I don't get there. I'm just
you detach your emotion from your from your goals.
And it's not my decision if I get to do it. I might love to do this. I might get really close to it. I might just not be good enough.
You think
I don't know. It could be. But the fun thing is, no matter how much we talk about it, I'll never know unless I do it.
Right. Exactly.
I could debate it.
But you didn't come this far just to get this far.
You're exactly right. Absolutely. But
right?
like I said, I
Are
might
you
not
closer today than you was a year, 2 years?
Hell yeah.
That's my
That's
point.
why I said I might not get there, but I'm going to get damn close.
No.
I'm gonna get damn
Listen. Around here,
Yeah.
when you're around me, we don't talk like that. We get it. We have no choice. This is our obligation. This is our calling. This is our purpose.
Yeah.
We have to by all means. However, we can detach our emotions from the end result.
Right.
If it doesn't happen, cool. We're not going to be depressed and we're not going to die from it.
Yeah.
But we followed our calling. And we made it no excuse on to why it did or didn't happen.
Right. But there's also self-awareness too. Like, for instance.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. For instance, if I wanted to be like the world's best like singer, I'm not going to become like, Beyonce or whoever, any other famous person.
Yeah, that's
Just don't want
something.
to.
That's something
There's
more
talent.
logical, because if you can't sing now,
Yeah.
there's a kid that's 4 or 5 years old that's been started already singing.
Yeah.
They have a better advantage than you.
And I'm a huge, and I think we talked about it like when I first started doing all this stuff, but I'm a huge fan of like Gary Vee. Like, I listen to a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
And he talks about it all the time. It's self-awareness, man. It's talent and effort.
Yeah.
You could be,
you give me the Gary Vee type of.
I listen to it a lot. So,
Who else do you listen to?
I listen to that. I listen to a lot of, and I didn't used to, like when I first started this, I didn't listen to any music. All of a sudden now I'm listening to a lot of music now when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Again, but yeah, I usually listen to a lot of music. I listen to that. I listen to Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. EP.
Okay. Yeah.
He's super cool. Like, listen to that stuff. And that's usually about it. That's usually about all I need.
Nice.
And then other than that, it's like film podcasts. It's people talking about like a day in the life of being a set PA, a day in the life of being the sound
You
designer.
gotta have the patience for that, because I put $1,000 camera and it hurts my brain to be able to, even for the smallest things like the settings each video is like 45 minutes long just for settings.
Yeah.
That's not even shooting and learning background noises, lighting.
Yep.
It's a lot of detail.
It's a lot of detail. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, and it just, a lot goes into it, unfortunately.
But you're passionate, and that's what separates you from other people. And like I was saying earlier, man, I watch a lot of podcasts, and I've seen a few podcasts or heard a few podcasts of people down talking other up and coming photographers that start off with like maybe cell phones and smaller cameras and stuff like that. You started off with your phone.
Yeah, I absolutely did. So I started off in video. So I had zero intention of doing any photo work when I started. Like, it was not in the plan. So I started doing the videos, learning the videos. I started on my cell phone. I went from this crappy little, what was it? It was like an LG phone that you buy in Straight Talk's wireless plan. I'm like, well, I can't afford a camera. I can do this. I did buy a Pixel 3a, which is still, to this day, what I have. I started off filming my videos for a friend's comic book shop, and then also a bunch of like event videos on this thing. I just attached it to like this $80 gimbal that I bought. I hooked it up to it, and I'd walk around, I'd shoot events and stuff like that, and it came out okay. And then eventually, I figured out, well, I'm going to need more equipment. So I couldn't really afford it. So what I did was, this was like right in the beginning of the pandemic, and all these cards, like sports cards, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, were all becoming like super, super high value.
What?
So I went to my friend's shop, and I was sitting there, and there's this app. It's called TCG Player. It's a website you go to. You can buy and sell single cards. And I was like, I'm bored. I've got nothing to do. So I went through like his collection of cards, and I started scanning stuff, and everything in this bin was 10 cents. Start scanning, like, oh, that's $1. Oh, that's 25 cents. Oh, that's $3. And I would buy all this stuff. I'm like, I could flip this.
Yeah.
So I put a $15 investment down in cards. I ended up, from that $15, I made 50, flipped the 50, made 200, and then like kept going and going and going and going.
You're really into Gary Vee, because he does like
so when that was part of the inspiration,
yeah.
was he was talking about sports cards. I'm like, I bet you Pokemon's like the same way. And like, absolutely blew
Pokemon
up.
cards is crazy. I don't know if you watch Logan Paul, but Logan Paul has like $1 million like Charizard card.
VMAX Rainbow Charizard or whatever. Yeah,
Lord.
It's ridiculous. But it wasn't like a plan that's what I wanted to do. Is like, that's just that's the vehicle to get from where I am now to where I want to be. So I made $750 in profit flipping those cards, which was enough to buy a camera, a tripod, and a microphone.
So hold up, you're going too fast.
Yeah.
So you basically flipped cards.
Yeah.
To buy equipment to propel.
I flipped cards. I went to Goodwill. I would buy crap from Goodwill that was like a couple bucks, and I'd buy it and sell it for like 10 or 15 bucks. And then I would go to garage sales and stuff like that and do the same thing. And it would just flip. And I still have a bunch of this stuff. Like, I've just since like I've gotten all this equipment and things have become so busy with like I still sit on all this stuff and it makes my wife so mad. I have boxes of cards that I still need to go through and sell. It's just, and that was it though. That was the vehicle to get.
You got cash at home, bro. So you can never say you broke because you got valuable things.
Well, I like to live like I'm broke. So I still work a full-time job in addition to doing this.
Nice.
I am downsizing that full-time job. I'm going from managing to not managing, just being somebody who's there like early morning.
So you can.
So I can get out and do like photography and stuff like that after the fact. But with doing that full-time job, the goal is to not take any money out of the business. So I decided the first 2 years of this business, I will incubate all of the money in it. I will take $0 out. I've so far lived up to that. I have not taken a single dollar out of the business, and I just use it to roll over, buy another piece of gear, buy some more marketing, get somebody to design my business cards, get somebody to do my website, and just keep incubating that money back in the machine. And then I still live off of my full-time income doing that.
There's people out there that's struggling, right? You know, Gary Vee, you know, he knocks that in everybody's head. Yeah. You know, he promotes that. You know, you followed some of the things that he's been promoting. You're a prime example of the shit that he's saying is actually true, because you was able to flip some stuff to help you propel into the career that you desire, which is, you know, photography and videography. So that is amazing. So someone who's struggling right now, what kind of advice would you give them?
Start selling stuff in your house.
Start selling anything.
If we went through like your house, for instance, now I bet you have probably like $1,000 worth of stuff that you do not.
I probably have $50,000.
I know of a really expensive camera. I think there's a lot of stuff that you have that you don't need, but you think you need it because you want to have it as a collectible. And it's like you're probably sitting on a huge, unless you're somebody who's like homeless, for instance, and like you have absolutely nothing, you've got items in your house that you could sell that somebody would pay some money for on eBay.
Yeah, but that you know, that's a pride and ego thing. For somebody to be like, I got to sell this just to make some money. That's kind of uncomfortable, no?
I mean, it depends on the person, I guess. I'm not at all uncomfortable.
So again, that goes back to your upbringing. You kind of mentioned, you know, where you came from, but what was besides school and stuff like that? What was the money situation? Because you're still working a full-time job. You couldn't afford a camera. So did you struggle financially?
No. Not really. So I did. I do this thing where I like to live like I'm broke, like really broke. So every paycheck I get. So for instance, my paycheck that I get from my work, let's just say is $1,000. I will take $150 and put that in my account, and I will take the remainder of that money and I'll put it into a joint bank account and forget that money exists. Now this $150 has got to pay for my gas, any food that I'm going to buy, any everything.
So you live by the 20-80-80 rule.
Correct.
80-20 rule.
I just forget that the 80 is there. Now, it's still there for like electric bill and stuff like that. That all comes out of there. That's just maintenance fees or whatever that comes out of that joint main account. But I just forget that money is there. Like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to know about it. It's great if there's an emergency. Like, we just went through an emergency lately with a dog or a few cats where we had to spend $1,000 on vet bills. And it's like,
you have cats there. And
oh yeah, I got a dog and I got several cats. My wife,
family man.
My wife is a rescuer of animals, so I have 6 rescue cats.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You have kids?
No kids.
Not yet.
No kids, no plan for kids.
Yo, I love that 80-20 mentality.
Yeah.
Have you read the book?
No.
So the 80 mentality is based on like a lot of things in life. It's like you said you live based on 20% of your income and you save 80%. When you're on a diet and you want to be healthy, 80% is what you consume, the food. 20% is working out and mental. Yeah. Right. A lot of things in life is based like that.
Yeah.
80% of your mindset is going to take you to where you want to go. Yeah. 20% of it is work. You think it's hard work. It's not. Most of it is in your mind. Do you believe like that?
Yeah, I think
does that come into consideration?
I think a lot of it's a mental game. There's not like, for instance, like, and I guess like the best example of it is like people who follow these like strange, weird diets and stuff online. And some of them work, but there's like a lot of like really terrible diets out there.
There's so much bullshit out there. I just got to say that. Like everything is a cash grab with people. They see an opportunity. They make shit up and they just put it out there to the world to try to get, some type of attention and things like that.
If you want to be in shape, you eat healthier and you work out.
Right.
But there are plenty of people out there that buy really terrible smoothies, really bad like slim fast food or all this other crazy stuff, and they think that is the gateway to unlocking being fit.
Yeah.
Not working out, eating healthy.
Right,
like
right,
the
right.
answers are free. It's right there, you know?
No, a lot of people are brainwashed. I believe that, you know, everything is a cash grab. These major corporations are spreading, you know, this vegan stuff, this healthy stuff, but it's really not healthy.
Yeah, people will
maybe
pay
healthier, but
people pay for the feeling of progress. So
people like shortcuts.
People like shortcuts a lot. So like people will go and buy a car that's like super expensive. Like I went and did a photo. I did a photo shoot a long time ago for somebody who has like this BMW, and it's a super nice BMW. And I asked like, what do you do for like a living? And when they were talking about it, I was like, oh, you work like retail, similar to what I do. I'm like, I know what that pay level is like. That is not a BMW pay level. So
some people like to portray that image that they're doing better than that.
I think
I never wanted to be that guy. Never ever wanted to be that guy to portray this image that I look better than I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
And this is something I still in people, and especially my son, is like, don't pretend you're doing good. Actually do good.
Yeah.
Because that image is not going to get you nowhere.
Yeah, and
it's
just be
depression. You following a forced narrative of what you want to be when you can actually be that person.
Yeah, and you talked about like the suicide and stuff like that going out around Facebook and like Instagram, and a lot of it comes from that, from people saying like, "Oh, I'm super successful," and like in the background they are not successful at all. But now this puts this pressure on somebody else. Like, well, this person's 22 years old. I'm 30.
Yeah,
and you know they have a Lambo. And
I fell into that. I fell into that hole. I definitely fell into that hole where. Not that I was trying to portray that I'm successful, but I was looking at time and age and put this statistic that I had to be at a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah.
Meaning I have to be settled down and have this amount in my bank account and look this way.
Yeah.
Well, all that shit is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what you believe in, but the higher power, that's the thing that makes everything happen for you. Yeah. And it happens on that time, not on your time.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Yeah. It's like you can't assume that you're not gonna make it somewhere. You're supposed to believe that. Oh, yeah. That's what you put out to the universe.
So you manifest.
Exactly. You believe in manifestation and the law of attraction?
I think so. I think you, once you get your mind in the right place, then I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, like, if you were somebody who's like dedicated towards doing something, even though you won't make it happen, a lot of opportunities will start lining up. Stuff that you would have passed on before, like just it would have been just a passing thought, where you start thinking like, oh, well, maybe this is related to this thing I want to do. Like you find what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why I say you have to try everything. You just have to do everything, and that's what you did. You took a leap of faith into something that you had no idea, but you thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And it just landed you to you're about to be on
closer.
Set. Yeah. Right, you're closer to your goal than you was a while ago.
Little by little, one travels far.
Exactly, and that's where it all stems from. Your thoughts create your reality.
Exactly.
So if you think you're not gonna make it somewhere, you already closed the door for that happening.
Yeah,
and that's why I like to I always want to push that out. My friends and anybody that's around me, we're not gonna speak that way.
Yeah, and
it's not that it's a bad thing. We don't want to close the doors to any opportunities that can be possible. And
I think at the same and I like both sides of it. I like both ends of that extreme, which is yes, you need to believe in it, absolutely. However, you also do need to live in a world where you understand that the opposite is also possible. Like, right. Yeah. And you have to be comfortable with both solutions, even though you really want this one. Yeah. You still have to be happy if you end up at this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it goes back to that where if that doesn't happen, something else. And you might find more interest in that than what you first thought of. Yeah. But it's an idea. And that idea, if it propels you and helps you go into that direction, you got to move on it.
Yeah. And I've never directed a movie before. I might find out that I suck at it, like real bad. And then I might change my perception.
But it takes time, man. I believe you have to, in order for you to be good at something, not even great, you have to put 10,000 hours in.
But it goes back to that talent and effort conversation. Like I can put in a lot of effort. If I don't have the talent for it, it doesn't matter. I can sing all I want. I am a horrible singer compared to Beyonce.
Yeah.
So that's where my theory comes in of if I can't direct a Star Wars movie, well, maybe I'll be a sound guy.
Yeah.
If I can't, maybe I'll be a PA. Like I just want to get there.
Yeah,
I'll get
exactly.
Close to it.
It's still part of the realm of reality of what you're trying to create.
Yeah.
And I love that. And even now, like you have a podcast that you talk about strictly about Star Wars.
That's it. Right? We just talk about Star Wars, and it's fun as hell.
How much can you talk about?
There's a lot you could talk about. So
is it like a theory thing? Like
sort of. So we usually will, like, a lot of it is us talking about like shows that came out and that, and we'll talk about like, oh, well, how does this affect Into the Gram? Well, where can we go now that this happened over here? How can we get there? Like the big thing now, I don't know how much you follow it, is Book of Boba comes out. If you're not like super into Star Wars, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know shit that you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's
but the reason I brought that up is because you met 2-3 other people that is in that realm that you have the podcast with.
Yep.
How does that even happen?
You find what you're looking for. So you become
again, it goes back to your thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. Exactly. And again, your thoughts is like a magnet.
Yeah, you start talking about it to people and they're like, oh, you like Star Wars too? I'm like, oh, you do too? Oh, cool.
What was that like? Was that
super fun? So one of the guys that I've been friends with the guys for like forever and ever and ever. One of the guys I've been friends with ever since college for like 10 years now or so. He owns a business in Ocala called Vibranium Comics. This is your shout out. But we film at his location, and it's just some people that I've met, and like we never knew each other's interest in Star Wars until we like really started talking about, like, oh, you're really into this too. Okay. And then that's where it comes from. You know, we start talking about the stuff we like, and then they start talking about it, and then we decide, oh, well, why don't we do a show? And like we're sitting with a bunch of friends and we're watching a few episodes of The Mandalorian. I'm like, oh, look at that. And we're pausing like, oh, look, they did this. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, no. Oh, well. And that's where it came from. It's like, okay, well, let's do a show where we just talk about the stuff that happens, and we can show you like how it relates to this. Like,
do you have good engagements and
God, no. Horrible. But it's still super fun to do.
Why do you think so?
So we're super inconsistent. He is incredibly busy as a business owner, doing events and stuff. In the comic business, a lot of your money comes from events, like going around selling comic books here to a totally new audience in Tampa or any of these other places. I'm obviously busy doing with what I'm doing. Yeah. And then our other friend works ridiculously early in the morning. He starts at like 3 a.m. is when his shift starts. So it's hard to get us all together. So we don't devote the consistency to it that we really should if we wanted to get it there.
But you know the problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And it's just a level of self-awareness. We don't really necessarily want to get it there, so we're not putting the effort in to get it there.
It's not a priority. No. I think people make time for things that are a priority to them.
Some people watch football. Some people talk about Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's our escapism.
I love that, man. This is a complete different podcast than what I'm used to. I bring ratchet people on, and we talk about mindset, like how their life was so hard and how they were able to overcome adversity and get to this place. But I think we all face some type of level of adversity
to a degree.
Right?
I think you. But
you give me the vibes that you don't ponder and dwell on adversity.
It is what it is. Nothing I do about it's going to change the way that it is. Only how I react to it will change it.
You watch a lot of Gary Vee, my dude.
I watch a lot of it.
You do.
I watch a lot of it. But listen, it's super helpful.
Did he change your mindset?
A lot. So I listen to Eric Thomas.
Yo, shout out to Gary Vee,
no shit,
bro, because I watch him all the time too. Man. I watch him all the time. So I like people like that. They give that type of energy and
and
his main subject is like he doesn't sweat the small shit, and he doesn't he's not the type of person to make himself or anyone feel bigger than what they are, right? We all humans. It doesn't matter how much money we have, how much clout we have, or what position we are in life. We all freaking human beings. We have emotions.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that he says is that life is about alternatives. So no matter like what situation you're in, like it could be a horrendously bad situation or it could just be an okay situation. You are where you are because of who you are. And if you want to get somewhere else, you're going to have to change something. So, and that's what I love about it. It's like, you know, like for instance, I was working retail with like no real practical way of getting to where I want to go. And then they show the alternative. Like he showed that like, oh, flip sports cards. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about sports cards, but I know a lot about Pokemon cards. I can flip those. Yeah. So then it's just, that's the alternative.
There's a crazy niche for that, you know, NFTs and all that other stuff. But have you gone through like major stuff in your life?
No, not in comparison to like, and I mean, to an extent, what I consider major, probably, but not as what the grand like scheme of like what everybody is going through. No, not in any sense of the term. Nothing really like
that's
sticks
great.
out.
No. And it's not that I'm trying to infiltrate that type of information. It's just I love that you're chill and you know you have self-awareness, and that's very important. Let's reverse it. Let's take it a little bit back. You went to college.
Yeah, I never graduated, but I went. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what was your intention with that?
So my original intention was that I was going to get an art degree, and then I realized that I suck at art. So that's a whole nother story about how like I didn't think I could get really like into direct movies. I'm like, oh well, I could just like draw comics or something. They were awful, super bad. So yeah, and that's where the self-awareness part came in. And like, oh, I can't draw.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that you can understand that and you can say that about yourself, because some people get discouraged fast. It's not that you discouraged, it's you shit. Your shit is shit.
Yeah, it's just like marking everything off like, okay, that's something I'm not good at, but there's got to be something. Like if I check enough boxes, I'm eventually going to find something that I'm good at and go with it. So, and it was not drawing. Drawing was not what I was good at.
Does money motivate you?
No. It didn't now. So I like it as the grand idea that it's like a scorekeeper, that like we could put like your business versus my business. We could see who's doing better, like by who's making more money. I like that idea, but no, I'm not.
Do you like competition?
Oh, I love competition. Absolutely love competition.
Yeah, me and my buddy, he's the one that kind of like put this, to me, start this small business. And when I first started, and we would constantly do week by week, how much we would make.
Yep.
And when I started, he was already in the business, and he's averaging at about 1,000, 1,500 a day.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
It's a small business. It's just like mine, just a different industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't no way in hell I'm going to do that, because I didn't do it for that. I just wanted to replace my income at work.
Yeah.
And I worked in the same industry for 10 years. I was making okay money. But money wasn't the thing that propelled me. It's the sense of freedom. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, with whoever I want, without having to worry about a clock in or alarm clock and asking somebody if I can take a break or not. Like, I don't want to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. And when I realized like how easy it is to make money, it's easy, bro.
Oh yeah. It's
easy.
not hard to do.
It's the super easy thing. If you can fix a problem for people, or you can help enhance their lifestyle.
Yeah.
I.e., you take great pictures, they post it on Instagram, they can get some sponsorships and some money and stuff like that. That's an enhancement. Or you can make a lot of money.
So making money is the easy part, I would say. The hard part is all of the baggage that goes along with it, like the legal stuff that you need to know, like how do I operate, how do I pay tax, like all that other stuff. That's always been the more intimidating part to me about business, versus the money part. Like the money part, it's just going to come. Like It's just balancing out the amount of work that you want to do with the price point. That's what it comes down to.
So how do you figure out your value now that you said that?
So it's really funny. So to answer that question, I'm going to answer another question you didn't ask, which is how did I start doing photos?
Okay, I'm going back and forth again. This is like an impulsive
thing.
You're fine. Like we go back and forth. We talk about everything.
No, you're totally fine. I'm just my answer to that question will not make sense until I tell you the other one. So I started doing photos totally on a whim. I was listening to a guy on YouTube who does a film business, and he goes around, he films commercials for people. I'm like, well, how does he so dang successful? And he talks about just upcharges. Like as far as like you get out there, you got to sell something else. You got to sell something. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. That's what I do at work all day, every day. I'm a salesperson. So I just sell like, oh, you're buying the steak. Now I got to sell you the sizzle. You got to sell you the fries. You got to sell you the fish. And that was the thing. He goes, well, I do video, but then I also just think, hey, I'm already out here. I got the camera. I got this stuff. You want to get a headshot in real quick for like $200? And that was the thing. That like, oh, that's great. I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. So I went and I posted in an acting group, because I'm like, I need to get closer to actors, because eventually that's going to lead me to where I want to go. Is I need to get actors under my plate that like know me and will mess around with me and stuff like that. So I need to get there. So because in like 3 to 4 years I plan on doing a short movie, and I need a short like small movie or something. I need people for it. And I'm not going to have a boatload of money for it, so I need to leverage something else. So I've leveraged
you
my time.
on it, bro. You talk so humble, man, and I love it. It's all good, but sometimes we gotta flex, bro. You are on the right path.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I know I'm going the right direction.
You're doing everything according to that one goal.
Absolutely.
And the more you speak,
it's not as like I don't know. It's like you don't feel like you deserve accolades when you planned it. Like I know where I want to go.
How you want to go there is not going to be as planned.
Yeah. No.
But you'll get there.
Exactly.
It's just not how you planned. And
So,
that's what's happening for you right now.
Absolutely. And so I wonder, I posted in all these acting groups. I'm like, hey, I'm usually a videographer by trade. My video business sucked, by the way. It was awful at the time. Like I had some sales.
You got to fake it till you make it?
No, I absolutely do not believe in that.
No?
No, I do not believe in fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I like being honest about it. I like being totally upfront and honest. Yeah, absolutely.
That's that's a thing now.
Yeah,
people really faking it till they make it. Because
eventually
subscribers and all this.
Eventually, what's going to happen is like somebody's going to ask me a question, and I'm like, well, I don't really know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like I could lie to you and say like, oh, my business makes $2,000 a week or whatever, and then they go, oh, well, how much did your business make this week? None. How do you make $2,000 a week without running any appointments?
Yeah.
Question. So you know,
but even those type of conversations, I don't indulge in those type of conversations. Yeah. Again, even like what I have going on here, it's not about title, which you have accomplished, because that shit means nothing. It doesn't define who you are.
No, and I think we need to make as a society losing a bigger part of the equation with entrepreneurship. Like we always like celebrate our wins and talk about how great this is, and like, oh, I got to be on a plane or I got to do this on whatever. Doesn't matter. Like we need to start talking about the actual, like the losing, like the me beating my head against a wall for like ever.
I have to say this. I have to say this.
Yeah.
Why aren't you putting that? Why aren't you promoting that? The trials and tribulations that you go through, so other photographers and videographers and people that have aspirations in being in this industry can understand some of the things that you're going through.
So I need to and I want to. The big problem now is time. So between my full-time job and then doing this and marketing it and building a website, I work on average 75 to 90 hours a week between doing both of those things, plus having a wife at home and animals and stuff like that. Very little time to do stuff. I want to get better at it. Like I want to like showcase this is how I'm going to get there. Or this is how the journey went, because as we just need to normalize losing in entrepreneurship, because that's half of the game.
You got to lose thousands of times to get a hit, bro. You have to. It's just a part of the game. If you think you're going to come into this realm of entrepreneurship and trying to own a business, if you think you're going to win right away, you're in the wrong fucking business, bro.
Yeah, you're going to have to fail a lot, but you're going to have to learn from your failing, like we talked about earlier, failing forward. Yeah. You know, learning something from like, oh, I'm not going to do that nonsense again.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to that is I posted in all these acting groups and like, well, who needs headshots? Like actors need headshots. And if you are a brand new actor in the Central Florida area, I'm doing free acting headshots. All you have to do is sign up in this link, which was great because I captured their email address. So the fun thing about that is that in a year,
landing page and
not even better. In a year, there's an email sent to all of them that says, "Hey, it's been a year. It's about time to update your acting headshot." You need to do it every year. So I'm like, it's like exactly. You're creating that like consistent business over and over again. But regardless, it was the
No, I love that. I love that because I have to do that for my business. I have to create a funnel and stuff like that. But I like what I'm doing here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I got all these different actors and stuff and actresses who were like, oh, I was about to pay this person like $500 for a headshot, but if you'll do it for free, I'm like, listen, I'm not good. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you're willing to try, I'm willing to try. And we went and we learned a lot together. My first headshot appointment, I was in the car driving to downtown Ocala, YouTube open. How do you make people pose? That's it, man. And I watched hundreds of videos before that of like, how do you do it? But I'm like still learning as I'm going. I'm like, okay. And I just picked it up as I started going, and then eventually, what happened when I found out,
were you nervous, bro? Because I'm sorry, I'm sorry, man. Because I can relate. I've been in situations where I said, okay, I'm gonna try it out, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So in the spare moment, I'll jump on YouTube and watch a video and be like, okay, I'm just gonna emulate this and see the results.
Yep, I'm just gonna do as close as I can to this.
It created some type of tension in my stomach where I felt like I gotta take a shit because I really don't know.
Yeah, it's like
and
I
you
really
don't want to
have no
look
idea what I'm doing.
stupid, right? Like this is the difference between owning a business and working for somebody else. When you work for somebody else, you don't take responsibility for.
Yeah, it's your boss's fault.
It's your boss's fault, right? Yeah. They didn't teach me this.
Yeah, exactly.
But then when you're an entrepreneur in your business, it's all your fault.
It's all on you all the time,
tiny little
constantly. Yeah, no, it's great. It's super fun. But yeah, no. And I told the lady, I'm like, hey, listen, first time ever doing this. I literally watched a video on the way here on how to pose and stuff. So listen, we're gonna do like an hour-long appointment. This is 100% for free, and we're just gonna try some stuff, and hopefully it works. And we did it, and it came out great. She loved her photos. She said it was amazing. She actually wrote me my first ever review for my business, which was super cool.
She didn't give you a tip?
Huh?
Did she give you a tip?
She offered, and I said no.
Oh, okay.
Because so my thing too is in any appointment, in anything, paid, non-paid, whatever, I want to have more leverage than somebody else because it feeds into where I want to go.
Well, then you believe in the monetary exchange.
Because now you owe me something because we did something for free. And you either pay on it or you don't. I don't care either way. But there's that pressure of like, oh, well, now he's casting for a short movie and he asked me to be in it. He did do that free headshot for me. I probably should. And it's all that. It's like the favor game, man, you know? And you just start like building on that. And so I put that post up there and I'm like, I'll get like 2 people. I got 35. It was ridiculous. So I posted in like 10 different film groups. I had no idea how popular it was going to be. I literally had to throw infrastructure underneath it as it was happening. So I went and I signed up for this thing called Honeybook, which is like how you book people and like you do contracts and stuff. I went and found this guy who's selling contracts online for photography. I'm like, well, I need a damn contract because I need to like protect myself in case something ever happens with it. Had to buy those from him. So I bought a contract, was rolling with that. And then I was collecting like their email address, scheduling appointments and stuff because like Google Calendar was not cutting it for like keeping up with the amount of appointments and stuff I had going on. Plus people would ask like really common questions of like, well, what do I wear to a photography appointment, Cory? I'm like, well, let me tell you. And I got tired of typing the same thing 30 times. So I wrote a blog post about it. And I'm like, okay, Mom. And I was just like building the infrastructure as I was going. When I found out I needed to charge was when someone goes, hey, how much do you charge for doing all these headshots? I went, great question. Let me go to Google. Googled, what's the cheapest headshot in Central Florida? $89. Okay. $10 less than that. $79 is what I charge to do a headshot.
What?
That's how I started. It's like, okay, well, that's the cheapest you can get. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm gonna do it $10 less. And then it progressed and moved and like people like started really getting behind them. Like,
yeah, I've seen your work, man. You do amazing stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's really
like I said before this, I'm definitely gonna book you, and we could do some work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super fun.
Yeah. And you definitely helped me out again, bro. You did just posting that one video, and I really want you to bring that back, man, because that brings the culture and that brings awareness to smaller business that may be struggling and don't have the financial means to. Because you didn't charge me.
Nope. It was that whole thing. I did 16 videos and it was totally free for everybody. And the plan is, so I'm relaunching the show. It's going to be called Talent and Effort because Yep. That's something that Gary Vee talks about. And I'm a super big believer in it is like, you have to not, because I wanted to showcase not only one, showcase the business. And I was really good about this when I did it too. I used to do a video that would be, here's their person's bit. It's a totally promotional, like this is their business. This is why you should buy from. And then I would do a second video. And the second video would be like, well, tell me about the struggles of entrepreneurship and like that type of stuff. And that'd be its own thing. And that's what I want this Talent and Effort show to be, is I want it to talk about like the struggles and like the failure and the losing and like the persistence that you have to have for it. Just so we paint like a really good picture of like, if you want to do it in Central Florida, this is what it's going to be like. This is what everybody's going through. Because that's one of the worst things about opening the business that I opened was that like, I don't know, like, is what I'm going through normal? Like, did everybody suck when they first opened a video business and nobody hired them? Did everybody suck when they opened a client services business and started doing it? You know, so having some of these videos to go to and just like people talking about their scarlet letters and their losing, I think would be really, really helpful.
So you have a lot going on, man. What's the future look like for you?
The future looks like, I'm going to be volunteering on this movie set, which I'm hoping will lead me to volunteering on other movie sets to learn other roles, which will then hopefully lead me to directing my own short movie in about 2 years or so, and then using all these actors and actresses that
you know what type of movie you want to create?
I have no idea yet.
No.
I have a bunch of scripts I've just written over the years.
I would like to be in a movie, man. Consider me, man. I'll do an audition.
I'll definitely consider you. Absolutely.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
So it'll have to be something super small because I'm sure it will be ridiculously low budget. And that was the other part of starting the business was like, I need to shoot a movie, but I have no money. So I need, but
there's movies out there that catapult and went crazy with low budget.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good movies that are actually shot on just iPhones, and they have no, like, there's not really any
with
sound.
iPhones?
Yeah. There's a great movie that's become like kind of like the staple of low budget filmmaking, which is, I think it's called Tangerine, I'm pretty sure. It's a movie that's shot on an iPhone 6 or 7. And the guy has what's called a B script. It's just like a little hold thing where it holds your phone. And you just,
stabilizer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little stabilizer, and that's it. Like he has that, and he's got a little microphone on top of it, and that's how he shot his whole movie. And it's like a really awesome, widely accepted, great movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, a lot of it is just, creativity in that. But I want to have a little bit more budget. I don't quite want to go that nonsense.
But I think the creativity is more important than having the budget, right? Because you have $1 million in budget and spending.
Yeah.
But if the creativity is just trash, then it doesn't make a good movie. It doesn't make a quality movie.
Not the blow any smoke on Transformers, but like Transformers is a really bad movie with a really high budget.
Yeah. Absolutely right, man. That is insane. But how do you know when something's gonna hit or not?
You don't.
You just take your chance.
You just make something that you would enjoy watching.
I think it's the marketing behind it.
To a point.
And then with like Transformers and stuff like that, they already have a huge name.
Yeah, exactly.
They could just live off of that, but the numbers didn't hit like others.
And it happens two ways, right? Like Transformers maybe was an amazing movie if it didn't have the Transformers name on it. If it was just something else, like some B-rated movie, it was probably a great movie for a B-rated movie, but it was not living to the expectation of that title.
That is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
I know just by speaking to you and having the conversations that we have, you're gonna do amazing things. And you seem patient.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're patient.
It's a big part of it.
Do you believe everything happens for a reason at a certain time?
Not really. I think, so I'm a believer that things happen because your mindset. So, like, for instance, I would not have been on a movie if I wasn't looking for a movie to be on, for instance.
It goes back to that law of attraction and
exactly.
having that mindset.
You find what you're looking for. If you're not looking for it, you're not finding it.
Right.
So... and it just happened, like this movie popped up that they're shooting it really close to my house. I'm like, well, this is like the perfect.
You applied?
No, I cold DM'd the guy and said, hey, I know you're only looking for actors, but I will literally do anything to be on this movie. And then he said, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so one of the bigger questions that I get asked from like friends and stuff, because on my website I have like all the businesses and stuff I work with. One of the largest businesses I've worked with is Harley Davidson. I work with them by cold emailing the marketing lady for Warhorse Harley Davidson saying, hey, I see you have an event coming up. How would you be interested in me coming just doing photography for you for free? And she was like, yeah, sure, why not? And like you get a lot of stuff.
Yo, you can learn from that. The guy said, people that are listening and watching, man, you just learn from that. You're willing to put your neck out.
Oh, I'll do whatever. I'm fine with, I'll teach anybody anything that I do now. Like I have a guy who actually reached out who's been doing headshots for like years in a different state. And he goes, hey, I want to follow you around on a headshot appointment because like I want to like learn a little bit and that stuff. And I go, yeah, the only thing you're going to learn is I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm like, he probably has a way better process and all that stuff than I have. But obviously it speaks to the results. I'm doing something in my photos that he thinks is phenomenal and he wants to replicate in some form of action.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm willing to teach anybody anything. I'm always game for more competition. That's always fine with me.
Yeah, that's because it brings the market. And I'm the same way. I did a podcast 2 days ago and a few people came up to me like, I've been wanting to start. This kind of like solidifies that I can do it because I see someone like you, just regular, you sitting down and you're in a place like this. It kind of boosts me up. It makes me look like I'm bigger than I'm not. I literally just started this.
Yeah.
And it feels good, man. I'm the same way. I love to help people and put them in position because I know what it feels like to want to do something and not have any help.
Yeah.
It's better when you have that help, man.
Absolutely it is. It's way better when you have the help. I just want to be the most 100% honest version of whatever I'm going to be.
Right. And Gary Vee talks about that.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
speaks about that like it's all the time. It's like you just have to be yourself. The right people will follow.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's the position you're in.
Yeah, and it's good too for like the people who want to open a business or whatever, but they're scared to like, fail. Or if they do fail in their business, they think, well, what happens now? I had this major failure. And then you see somebody on a podcast talking about how much they suck at stuff.
Yeah. It makes it easy. Yeah,
exactly.
You look at someone like that and you're like, man, shit, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I think just in general, not just necessarily in the Central Florida area, but everywhere, we just need to normalize failing at stuff and talking about it openly. like I said, I failed at one headshot appointment out of a bunch, so it's not bad. And I failed one product photography, but I learned from it. I learned I will never do product photography again.
Yeah.
And I will never go off script again on a headshot. I will only do what I think I should do.
Yeah. And we often do that. And I think that's the consumer in you. You look at all this YouTube stuff and you think something is great and you want to emulate that, but you really have no idea what's going on. I think when I first got into this podcast, that's what I was doing. I was following all these podcasts.
Yeah.
That was doing all these things and I'm like, yo, I want to do that. And bro, it's not. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel comfortable. And this is kind of the reason like I'm doing this alone now. Is because like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm comfortable with. We're gonna talk about the finer moments and where people are in life.
Yeah. And I think, have you ever heard of the apple pie theory, which I love?
What's that?
So everybody knows what an apple pie tastes like.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to make one.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like you can see like, oh, that's a great podcast. You have no idea how in the world they make it until you start doing it, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm figuring it out." You know, and it was the same way for me. I watched a bunch of guys running around filming businesses and stuff, and I go, "Oh, I could do that," and then you start going, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. When I first got into this, I'm like, I can do that. I started doing research. Oh yeah, I have to just buy a few things. It's nothing like that.
No, it is nothing like that at all. The buying things is the easy part. The everything else is the hard part.
Yeah, there's a lot of small details that go with any business. Anything that you're trying to create in life, there's a lot of small things. And if you pay attention to the details, I think that's what really gets you the results that you want. So we've been here for a little while, man. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
I think that's pretty much about it. Obviously, if you're interested in like getting photography from a guy who kind of knows what he's doing. FilmDen.
He knows what he's doing. He's just being super humble right now.
It's super fun.
But
yeah.
He's been trolling you guys the whole time.
No, definitely not. But FilmDen. So the one funny thing I want to mention on it is actually I got to thank my wife for the name. So I don't think I've ever like publicly said it before, but FilmDen is what do you want to be? FilmDen.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a really terrible pun because I tell people really bad jokes when I take photos of them. Yeah, because I hate, so if you ever see somebody like, if you're taking a photo of somebody and they say smile or whatever, like say cheese or whatever, they give you this like really awful forced smile. I hate that. So I tell people I will never ask you to smile. I will tell you really bad jokes till you do. So I'll tell them jokes like, what makes a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. And then I'll take photos of them while they're laughing. Or, really annoyed, one of the two.
I was nervous as shit when you filmed it.
Yeah, it's a strange guy pointing a camera at me, recording everything I say and do. So it's you have to take the edge off.
Yeah.
You have to get people comfortable with it. And every once in a while I get to work with like a model or somebody who's like really used to it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is totally different. I usually spend like, probably in an hour appointment, I spend 15 to 20 minutes of that, like training the person, like, okay, I need you to look like this. I need you to like put your arm this way. And then you get like someone who's been used to being photographed, like a model or like an actress or something, and they're just doing everything on their own. Like,
yeah,
okay, you just keep doing you, and I'll just keep taking pictures. Yeah.
So where can people find you?
So I am on pretty much every social you can imagine as FilmDen.media, including Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can find a link to all my socials and that type of stuff on the website. It is www.filmden.media, not .com, .media. .com was taken. So it is .media. But yeah, you can find a link to all of our work and all that stuff there. And if you're like a new, and I always encourage, if you're a brand new actor or actress or something and you can't afford headshots, hit me up.
Man, you got to start charging. Before we leave, you have to start charging. You have to know your worth.
For sure. I do charge. Absolutely. The thing is, like, I choose what I charge and don't charge on.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it is. If it's somebody who's like, for instance, if I get a new actor or actress or whatever who's like, I can't afford headshots, I'm in this acting class or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just, no. Unfortunately, it's a paid appointment. But it depends, man. So I do charge. I do make actually quite a decent amount of money on photo stuff, which is funny because I started as a video business and I make way more money on photo than I do video.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a fine balance of what like I want to do versus like what somebody will have to pay me to come out and do.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Cory, it's been a pleasure sitting down with you, awesome, man. I wish you nothing but more blessings to your business and everything you have going on. I'm 100% confident that you are going to get to where you want to get to because you keep putting on the hard work, the persistence, and You're just a good guy and you deserve it, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for watching Deafine Podcast. Every week we invite interesting guests and we talk about defining moments, and we kind of kick shit and just talk about what they have going on with their life. So if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. We on all the streaming platforms and we post videos on YouTube as well. So thank you. Goodbye.
See you later, Internet.